Hello everyone! So I have had many requests to do a video like this. Also I am in my pyjamas. Yeah, I'm always in my pyjamas in these videos, but yeah, and also, do you like my little bunny bubble? Anyway, so many people since watching my piercing video of how I pierced my third, I believe it was. I think it was this one. Anyway, so I've had so many requests on how to do an ear piercing aftercare video. This kind of also does apply to other piercings. I do pretty much the same thing to my belly piercing, but this video is about just ear piercings, although the same things kind of apply. I might do a belly piercing aftercare video at another time. But anyway, I have 10 ear piercings at the moment. All of them are like just on the outside of my ear, like none of them are like any of these other ones that you can get. And I have 10 at the moment, but I have also had 2 others which I kept in for 2 days because my friend did it, and unfortunately they were really crooked, so yeah, not so great. I'm like, oh, I'll just let them heal and I'll pierce them again later. So I have had a lot of experience with piercing aftercare, and luckily I have always been well informed, so I haven't, and also I've been really lucky that my body hasn't wanted to reject anything or, you know, anything like that. So I haven't had any infections whatsoever, despite the fact that I did pierce, apart from my firsts, I pierced all of my piercings myself. So people can say, you know, you're just asking for infection if you pierce them yourself, but actually if you do everything right, you don't have any greater chance of infection than someone who went to a piercer to get pierced. So anyway, I'm just going to go through how to clean your piercing, how to you know, look after it, sleeping, and just things that you should try to avoid. The most obvious question people have is, how do I clean it? Or how do you clean it? Like, how do me? Caitlin, how do you clean your piercings? Why, I have many ways to tell you, so here we go. So when I got my firsts pierced, I got them done at a chemist, and this isn't the bottle that they gave me then, but it was the exact same thing. They gave me a bottle like this, of this Adnor ear care antiseptic spray, and this just says, the directions on this bottle say, clean newly pierced ears at least twice daily without removing the earring. Clean ears and all earrings with Adnor ear care prior to wearing. So this stuff is actually really good, because you can actually clean your jewellery before you wear it with this stuff, which is actually really good. It's actually not in here at the moment. This spray bottle was empty, and it's got a salt wash in it now, which I will show you how I mix up my salt wash in a bit. But if you actually want to buy this stuff, I think it's about $10, maybe a bit less, and it actually works very well. It doesn't sting or anything like that, and I cleaned my firsts with this, and I believe I cleaned my seconds with this for the duration of their healings, and I didn't get any infections, and yeah, this stuff does work very well, so I do recommend it. So if you want to buy a kind of ear piercing cleaning spray, go to your chemist or pharmacy and ask them, you know, what they have and what they recommend, because a lot of pharmacies actually do piercings there, so they'll probably stock some sort of piercing spray. Then I have this one, which is another one I tried. The bottle's really dirty because this is practically empty and I haven't used it since I got pierced, so it's just been collecting dust. But this is the Chemist Warehouse, I believe, Chemist Warehouse brand. It's called 2E's Soothing Sea Care, and this actually works really well as also. This one contains benzalkonium chloride and methyl hydroxybenzoate. So this one's all chemically things that obviously are not just natural ingredients, whereas this one just contains deionized water, aloe vera, glycerin, sodium chloride, grapefruit seed extract, that benzalkonium chloride, which is also in this, citric acid, and trisodium citrate. So these ones do contain some of the same ingredients. This one's got some more natural things in it, but really they are kind of the same thing. And they do work very well. Again, with this, I did not get any infections with this, and it does a very good job, and it does actually really soothe the piercing if it's gotten a little bit sore. So I do recommend that. And then this is a piercing gel. So this is what my piercer gave me when I got my belly button pierced. I don't know the brand, so I'm sorry. I just have this to demonstrate, but you can get all sorts of gels and things like that. These ones are sprays. I don't recommend anything that's come from a aerosol can, any aerosols, even though they might be really recommended. They often like dry out your piercing. I think if you're going to use any sort of spray, it's best to use something that's just a little pump spray, not an aerosol. But if you want to use a gel, I definitely recommend using something like this. So ask your piercer if they have anything like this. If you have done your piercing yourself, you can go to either a pharmacy or a tattoo and piercing place and just see what they have. Otherwise, you can do what I also tend to do most of the time, is use a salt wash. So I'll just put the video right here. So now I'm just going to show you how I mix up the salt wash. You can like mix up a whole lot if you like, and then either put it in a spray bottle or just in a container so that you can you know, keep it and not have to mix it up every time. But if you are just mixing it for a single use, this is how I do it. But it's the same thing if you make more, just obviously do more of everything. You just want a little shot glass, and you want sea salt. So this says naturally evaporated sea salt, and I bought this bag simply just for piercing. So yeah, when you are buying a sea salt, you want to make sure it's just plain sea salt and it doesn't have anything else in it. You don't want any like preservatives or anything like that. And then with a little teaspoon, you only want to get like about half of this. So I'm just going to put about half in there. I'll probably put a bit more than half, but that's probably alright, because you don't want it to be too much salt, because for one, it's not going to dissolve, and for two, if it's really salty, it's going to actually sting a little bit, and this is going to be enough. So I'll just go get the kettle. I like to boil the water first. It does still work if you don't boil water, but I find that, you know, it's just going to be a lot more sanitary if the water has been boiled. So I just put in about that much. If I was going to use this for cleaning a belly button piercing, I would add a bit more salt and fill the water up all the way, and then you can actually use a shot glass right on your belly button and just soak it that way. And then you just want to mix that up. You can use a cotton bud, one of these Q-tips, to mix it, but you just want to mix it until all that salt dissolves. And I know it didn't look like there was that much salt in there, but trust me, it will be enough. So then you want to wait until this completely cools down. Keep it somewhere, you know, where dust isn't going to fall into it while it's cooling. But if you tried to put this on a brand new piercing now, you can see there's still steam coming off it. That's just going to be way too hot and it's going to hurt. But so you can either put it on, well, you can, if you have a little spray bottle that's really clean, you can just apply it as a spray, or you can use Q-tips or cotton balls, as long as whatever you're using is clean. That's a bird making that noise. As long as whatever you use is clean, yeah, it should be fine. So this is, you know, a really cost-effective way to clean and heal new piercings, and you can use this on any piercing at all, because it's really natural and it's you know, sanitary, so it's going to be really good. Okay, so that's how I make the salt wash, and I can either, like I did here, I put it into this bottle, so this has got that salt wash in it, and then I can spray it on, or like I said, you can use a Q-tip or a cotton ball to apply it to the area. I think sprays are a lot easier, but the only thing is, if you are using a spray bottle, don't actually let it touch, like, pretend the piercing's here, don't actually let it touch the skin or the piercing, or the jewellery, I mean. Then you will be transferring bacteria, so you want to spray from, you know, a good distance where you won't actually be, you know, letting the bacteria touch. So that's that. Okay, so now another question I often get is sleeping with piercings. I know that some ear piercings can actually be difficult to sleep on. Lobes are usually okay unless you sleep like with your head like right on the side, and then they can tend to dig in. So I recommend for the first few days just sleep on your back. However, when you have certain cartilage piercings like this one, it will actually, like when you lie on your back, the back of your ear will actually touch, pretend this is the pillow, it will actually just touch the pillow. So it can be difficult to sleep, to find a good position to sleep when you have a new piercing. And the thing is, if you have slept on your piercing all night, it's going to be very sore when you wake up in the morning, because not only will the jewellery be digging into the side of your head, but it will have been putting pressure on the new piercing, and it can prolong healing time as well, which is obviously not what you want. So I recommend finding whatever way you find easiest to sleep, and then if it's kind of an awkward position, you know, just get like tons of pillows and build them up like next to you. Maybe even if you have to, like, get 2 pillows and then like put it so your ear is like in between them, if it's something like that, if that way it can work out, so you can lie on your side. Just find something that's comfortable. It's really only difficult with low piercings, it's really only difficult for the first like 2 nights or so. With cartilage it can take a bit longer. The first few weeks are going to be kind of difficult, but just find something comfortable. And I know it's really not recommended to sleep on your stomach ever, but for me, I always sleep on my stomach, so it's just always been easiest for me to just sleep on my tummy, and sort of put like 2 pillows here so my face is like there in the middle, just so that my ears don't have to touch the pillow. But I know it can be annoying, but it's worth it, and you'll get through it. So the number one thing that I definitely stress to you if you have a new piercing, leave it alone and do not touch it. With ear piercings, you need to turn them twice a day at cleaning time. So before you even think about touching your ear piercing, you need to wash your hands completely and then use a hand sanitizer so that you are not transferring germs from your hands into your new piercing. That's the way that I have completely avoided all infections, I believe, because I always had clean hands before I touched them. I know it's so tempting to just play with them. You just want to, you know, anytime you get any new piercing, you just want to play with it, but please just don't. Keep your hands off. Make note to yourself every time you go near to touch it. Just be like, no, I don't want an infection. Get your hands away. It's like the chippy slap from that ad. Do the chippy slap, do the piercing slap every time you're going to put your hand near it, piercing slap, and maybe ask your family to do the piercing slap to you or something like that, just so if every time they see you touching to, you know, slap your hand away. Especially if you're helping your child heal a piercing. You know, I'm not saying slap your child, please don't slap your child, but make sure that if you have a little kid who's gotten a new ear piercing, make sure that they aren't playing with it. I know that when something hurts they want to touch it, but it's just going to hurt more if they play with it. Yeah, another thing is, don't clean your piercing more than your piercer has recommended. I think twice a day is a good amount. Some piercers recommend just once a day. It depends what you're cleaning it with, but yeah, don't clean it too often, because you need to leave it alone and just let it heal itself. Okay, and I think this is probably the last thing that I'm going to talk about, but this is kind of controversial, and it is swimming. So it depends where you're swimming. If you're swimming like in a really murky lake, I would say definitely don't put your head under, because you know, there's all sorts of germs in there, and you really don't want any of that in your new piercing. Public pools can be really, really germy, but if you swim, like if you do swimming training like multiple times a week, you can't just have, you know, 6 months off if you're healing a cartilage piercing. So I would say if you don't normally swim and it's easier for you to avoid it, just avoid it. But if you must swim, make sure that you bring your piercing cleaning products to the pool, and as soon as you get out, clean your piercing, and you don't want any of those germs being in there longer than they need to be, so clean it properly right after your swim. So I think, you know, if you can, try to get pierced in the off season, or if you don't swim for, like, if you don't actually do swimming but you know that you like to swim a lot, do it in winter when you're not going to be wanting to swim all summer. So I think, you know, with some of my new piercings, I have swum the day that I got it pierced and they've turned out fine. However, you're just increasing the risk of infection, so if you can avoid it, just avoid it. Swimming in your own pool, depends how clean you keep it and how often it's used. I would just say try not to get your ears wet. Just try to keep your head above water, and then, you know, if you must, just clean it straight after. But yeah. So that's all I have to say that I can think of. Just clean your hands before you touch. Don't touch when you don't need to. Clean the amount that your piercer recommends. If you've pierced it yourself, probably go for 2 times a day. Ask the person who pierced you as many questions as you can, and, you know, do your research. don't trust everything that I said. I'm not a professional, but I have had a lot of experience with healing ear piercings. So I think those are my main tips. Hopefully this helped you, and if you want any more videos like this, or if you have any questions, just ask me. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye!